Hello everyone, today we are going to see next tutorial, that is tutorial number 2, Introduction to Python. Introduction. Python is a general purpose interpreted, interactive, object-oriented and high-level programming language. It was created by Guido van Rossum during 1985 to 1990. Like Perl, Python source code is also available under the GNU, that is General Public License GPL. Why to learn Python? Python is a high-level interpreted, interactive and object-oriented scripting language. Python is designed to be highly readable. It uses English keywords frequently, whereas other languages use punctuation, and it has fewer syntactical constructions than other languages. Python is a must for students and working professionals to become a great software engineer, especially when they are working in web development domain. I will list down some of the key advantages of learning Python. Python is interpreted. Python is processed at runtime by the interpreter. You do not need to compile your program before executing it. This is similar to Perl and PHP. Python is interactive. You can actually sit at a Python prompt and interact with the interpreter directly to write your programs. Python is object oriented. That means Python supports object oriented style or technique of programming that encapsulates code within objects. Python is a beginner's language. Python is a great language for the beginner level programmers and supports the development of a wide range of applications from simple text processing to www browsers to games. Characteristics of Python. Following are important characteristics of Python programming. It supports functional and structured programming methods as well as OOP. It can be used as a scripting language or can be compiled to bytecode for building large applications. It provides very high-level dynamic data types and supports dynamic type checking. It supports automatic garbage collection. It can be easily integrated with C, C++, COM, ActiveX, Cobra, and Java. Python features. Easy to learn. Python has few words, simple structure, and a clearly defined syntax. This allows the student to pick up the language quickly. Easy to read. Python code is more clearly defined and visible to the eyes. Easy to maintain. Python source code is fairly easy to maintain. A broad standard library. Python's bulk of the library is very portable and cross-platform compatible on Unix, Windows and Macintosh. Interactive mode. Python has support for an interactive mode which allows interactive testing and debugging of snippets of code. Portable. Python can run on a wide variety of hardware platforms and has a same interface on all platforms. Extendable. You can add low-level modules to the Python interpreter. These modules enable programmers to add to or customize their tools to be more efficient. Databases. Python provides interfaces to all major commercial databases. GUI programming. Python supports GUI applications that can be created and ported to many system calls, libraries, and Windows systems such as Windows MFC, Macintosh, and the X Windows system of Unix. Scalable. Python provides a better structure and support for large programs than shell scripting. Advantages of Python. Extensive libraries. Python downloads with an extensive library and it contains code for various purposes like regular expressions, documentation generation, unit testing, web browsers, threading, databases, email, image manipulation, and more. So we don't have to write the complete code for that manually. Extensible. Python can be extended to other languages. You can write some of your code in languages like C++ or C. Third one is embeddable. Complementary to extensible, Python is embeddable as well. You can put your Python code in your source code of a different language like C++. This lets us add scripting capabilities to our code in the other language. Fourth one is improved productivity. The language's simplicity and extensive libraries render programmers more productive than languages like Java and C++ do. Also, the fact that you need to write less and get more things done. Next, fifth one is IoT opportunities. Since Python forms the basis of new platforms like Raspberry Pi, it finds the future bright for the IoT. This is a way to connect the language with the real world. Simple and easy. When working with Java, you may have to create a class to print hello world, but in Python, just a print statement will do. It is also quite easy to learn, understand and code. Next, seventh one, readable. Python is much like reading English. This is the reason why it is so easy to learn, understand and code. It also doesn't need curly braces to define blocks, and indentation is mandatory. Eighth one is object oriented. This language supports both the procedural and object-oriented programming paradigms, while functions help us with code reusability. Classes and objects let us model the real world. A class allows the encapsulation of data and functions into one. Next one is free and open source. Python is freely available, but not only can you download Python for free, but you can also download its source code, make changes to it and even distribute it. The 10th one is portable. When you code your project in a language like C++, you may need to make some changes to it if you want to run it on another platform. But isn't the same with Python. Here you need to code only once. Remember, you need to code only once and you can run it anywhere. This is called write once, run anywhere. What we call it is write once, run anywhere. Interpreted. Python is an interpreted language since statements are executed one by one. Debugging is easier than in compiled languages. Advantages of Python over other languages. First, we'll look at less coding. Almost all of the tasks done in Python requires less coding when same task is done in other languages. Python has an awesome standard library support, so you don't have to search for any third party libraries to get your job done. This is the reason that many people suggest learning Python to beginners. Second advantage is affordable. Python is free, therefore individuals, small companies or big organizations can leverage the free available resources to build applications. Third advantage is Python is for everyone. Python code can run on only machine, whether it is Linux, Mac or Windows. Python code can run on any machine, whether it is Linux, Mac or Windows. Programmers need to learn different languages for different jobs, but with the Python you can professionally build web apps, perform data analysis and machine learning, automate things do web scraping, and also build games and powerful visualizations. Next, we'll look at disadvantages of Python. So far, we have seen why Python is a great choice for your project. But if you choose it, you should be aware of its consequences as well. Let's see now the downsides of choosing Python over another language. First one is speed limitations. We have seen that Python code is executed line by line. But since Python is interpreted, it often results in slow execution. This, however, isn't a problem unless speed is focal point for the project. In other words, unless high speed is a requirement, the benefits offered by Python are enough to distract us from its speed limitations. Weaken mobile computing and browsers. While it serves as an excellent server-side language, Python is much rarely seen on the client side. Besides that, it is rarely ever used to implement smartphone-based applications. One such application is called Carbonelle. Third one is design restrictions. As you know, Python is dynamically typed. This means that you don't need to declare the variable while writing the code. It uses duck typing, but wait, what's that? Well, it just means that if it looks like a duck, it must be a duck. While this is easy on the programmers during coding, it can raise runtime errors. Fourth disadvantage is underdeveloped database access layers. Compared to more widely used technologies like JDBC and ODBC, that is Java Database Connectivity and Object Database Connectivity, Python's database access layers are a bit underdeveloped. Consequently, it is less often applied in huge enterprises. Enterprises. Fifth disadvantage is simple. No, we are not kidding. Python simplicity can indeed be a problem. Take my example. I don't do Java. I am more of Python person. To me, its syntax is so simple that the verbosity of Java code seems unnecessary. Applications of Python. These are some real world Python applications. We'll look at first application, that is web and internet development. Python lets you develop a web application without too much trouble. It has libraries for internet protocols like HTML and XML, JSON, email processing, FTP, IMAP, and easy to use socket interface. Second application of Python is desktop GUI application. Most binary distributions of Python ship with TK, a standard GUI library. It lets you draft a user interface for an application. Apart from that, some toolkits are available. WX widgets, Kiwi for writing multi-touch applications, Qty, PyQt or PySide. And then we have some platform specific toolkits like JTK Plus, Microsoft Foundation classes through the Windows 32 extensions, Delphi. Third application is science and numeric applications. Python finds its place in the scientific community. For this, we have SciPy, Pandas, IPython, and NumPy. SciPy, a collection of packages for mathematics, science, and engineering. Pandas, a data analysis and modeling library. IPython, a powerful shell for easy editing and recording of work sessions. It also supports visualizations and parallel computing. Also, NumPy enables us to deal with complex numerical calculations. Fourth application is software development. Software developers make use of Python as a support language. They use it for build, control, and management, testing, and for a lot of other things. Fifth application is education. Thanks to its simplicity, brevity, and large community, Python makes for a great introductory programming language. Applications of Python programming in education has a huge scope as it is a great language to teach in schools or even learn on your own. Sixth application is database access. With Python, you have custom and ODBC interfaces to MySQL, Oracle, PostgreSQL, MS SQL Server, and others. These are freely available for download. Databases like Duras and ZODB, standard database API. Next application is network programming. With all those possibilities, how would you Python's like in network programming? It does provide support for lower level network programming. Twisted Python, a framework for asynchronous network programming. We mentioned it in next tutorial. An easy to use socket interface. Next, last application is games and 3D graphics. Safe to say this one is the most interesting when people hear someone say they are learning Python. The first thing they get asked is, "So did you make game 8?" Pygame, Pykra are two frameworks for game development with Python. Apart from this, we also get a variety of 3D rendering libraries. If you are one of those game developers, you can check out PyWeek, a semi-annual game programming contest. References. Thanks for watching this video.